The Forgotten Plague. Everyone knows the Black Death. But what if I told you there was a deadlier plague that struck centuries earlier, one that helped collapse an empire and was nearly erased from memory? A pandemic so devastating it reshaped history, and yet few know it even existed. Welcome to Time Lock History. Today we unlock the dark and nearly forgotten story of the Plague of Justinian, a disease that swept through the ancient world nearly 800 years before the Black Death, possibly claiming over 50 million lives. The year is 541 AD. The Byzantine Empire, under the rule of Emperor Justinian I, stands tall. Constantinople, the empire's glittering capital, thrives with bustling markets, towering architecture, and an ambitious vision to reunite the old Roman Empire. Justinian dreams of a legacy of conquest, law, and faith. But beneath the prosperity lies a silent threat, one that will bring death not by sword, but by sickness. The empire is vast and interconnected. Goods, ideas, and people flow from Africa to Europe, from the Levant to Asia Minor. But that same connectivity, so vital for prosperity, will prove deadly when a pathogen enters the web. The plague's origins remain debated. Some trace it to Central Asia, others to East Africa. But what's certain is that it traveled via the bustling trade routes of the ancient world. Egypt, a breadbasket of the empire, was the first major node. Infected fleas hitchhiked on rats aboard grain ships bound for Constantinople. Eyewitness accounts describe a city in collapse. Up to 10,000 people per day died at the peak of the outbreak. Bodies filled homes, alleyways, even waterways. Burial rituals ceased. With nowhere to put the dead, officials resorted to dumping corpses into mass graves or into the sea. Emperor Justinian himself fell ill. He survived, but many of his advisors, generals, and officials did not. The machinery of government ground to a halt. Chaos reigned. Streets became deserted. People locked themselves inside, waiting for death or divine mercy. From Constantinople, the plague radiated outward. It ravaged Syria, Persia, Palestine, Anatolia, and swept across North Africa and into Europe. For the next 2 centuries, waves of the plague would return, sometimes years apart, sometimes decades, each one cutting deeper into the empire. Economies collapsed, armies dwindled, farms were abandoned, cities shrank. The Byzantine Empire, once poised to reclaim Rome's legacy, was left battered and forever changed. Justinian's grand ambitions faded, and the empire turned inward, struggling simply to survive. Historians now believe the Plague of Justinian may have killed up to 50 million people across the known world, nearly a quarter of the global population at the time. And yet, it remained a historical footnote until recent discoveries brought its horror back into light. DNA analysis of ancient bones has confirmed that the same bacterium behind the Black Death, Yersinia pestis, was also responsible for the Plague of Justinian. 2 pandemics, centuries apart, linked by a microscopic killer. The Forgotten Plague teaches us something chilling, that history doesn't always remember its worst tragedies, but by unearthing them we don't just honor the lives lost, we learn how to better prepare for what may come again. Thank you for watching Time Lock History. If you enjoyed this dive into the shadows of the past, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more dark history uncovered.